That was awesome, I have to say. My name is Sheila Kropp Sigurd. I grew up in Midway. And I came back, but as a man from Seattle says, sometimes you're around things and you don't appreciate them, but there are those of us who will never quit appreciating and loving this town. And increasing density changes my town. No, no, no. I have been here to city council meetings. I've been drug in because people next to my property want to do another development. So I've been here a lot, haven't I, Wes? And I say the same thing. And thank you to all of you for what you do for us. And I appreciated your words, Colleen, about being kind, because that's what Midway is. But I say again, you guys are, you hear development all the time. What about this development? What about this development? What about this development? Please again, remember us citizens who work at other jobs, who love the beauty, the openness, the pristine, the beauty of Midway and don't want it changed. I love the arts. Last Friday night, I was in the Dion Concert Hall and heard a Broadway star who was in the opening. She was the original cast in Wicked on Broadway. We can have good arts, but we don't have to destroy our town. What's the plan for our open space? We can talk about open space other places. Where are we going to go? Open space and trails was voted as the most important on the recent survey for the city's general plan. But what are we discussing? There's a Raymond development, this new village proposal, development south of Main Street and Scotch Fields. Where is our open space? I think that's why this is raising such ire with people. And also a statement about Memorial Hill. Thank you, Zelda. And for those of us who know some of the men who are on that plaque, that is a sacred place. I say there should be, change the zoning, put some green space there so we can respect Memorial Hill and those men from our town who preserved our freedom. It's a hallowed place, and don't ever forget it. Those people who suggest putting things right at the base of the hill aren't even on the same page of those of us who love and honor our treasure of Memorial Hill.
Sheila,
thank you.
Your time's up. Did you want to leave a copy of, or did you already send that one to me?
I'll clean it up and send it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Mary Thomas, 549 Craftsman Way. My husband's a Utah boy, and he brought me here 10 years ago during Swiss days, and we never left. And you can understand why, for all the same reasons that you all are here. But politics and platitudes aside, change is inevitable. And I have climbed Memorial Hill thousands of times by now. And I have parked my car in front of the garage at the bottom of Memorial Hill, and I am probably the only one who's ever done that. I have never seen anyone at the bottom of Memorial Hill looking up. Many, many, many people at the top of Memorial Hill looking down. So the space there at the bottom of Memorial Hill where we are considering a C-4 space doesn't seem to me to be that much of a heart-thumping space necessary for consideration as a holy spot in Midway. The top, yes. The bottom, maybe not so much. So I am not personally objecting to a C-4 space on Main Street, that end of Midway. However, I have many concerns about the process that we're going through to get to a C-4 space. I am on the same page with many people who feel that the impact studies should have been done that may not have been. The condition of parking spaces, the condition of road impacts, the condition of school needs, those things don't seem to be clearly thought through before you make a decision on putting a Riverwoods or any other kind of project there. Now, it seems to me a lot of people seem to think that that has already been decided. What kind of a project will go in there? That hasn't actually been decided. The space as a C4 is open to all kinds of possibilities. And I don't object to that. I think that the business needs of Midway are large and the businesses available are small. I've lived in...
Your time's up, huh? Have you got any comments you wanted to leave with us tonight? Okay, thank you so much for your time.
Hey, I'm Parker Nielsen, 16 Orange River Road. So I just had one thought I just wanted to say, sort of from a different perspective. So everyone's talking about the small town, the valley feel that they love. And the C-4 planning is sort of out of place if we don't seem to grow afterwards. It's sort of there, and if there's no growth in the city after that, it just doesn't really fit in. And I just wanted to throw in this little note. I don't know if anyone's thought of it. It's kind of out there, but again, we live in a small valley, and the physics of it is during the winter we'll have inversion. Whatever pollution we make will stay here. And so while we have land, we have resources, we have water, we can grow that way. We are going to have more pollution, more people move in. And if we do have serious inversion, that's going to be a kiss of death to most of the businesses here that depend on people coming in, and it's going to be detrimental to a lot of people's health. And I don't know, it's maybe just something no one's really thought of. It's kind of just a different thought. While the small town feels something we like, living in the valley is something we like, it also has drawbacks as well with this pollution that's going to be trapped in. So if we are limited in our growth, eventually we have to draw the line somewhere else. We're going to be living in a cloud of whatever you want to call that. So eventually we do have to draw the line somewhere, and I think we just need to draw that sooner than later and figure out what we're going to allow. Thanks.
Thank you, Parker.
My name is Carl Gray, and I am opposed to this change at 1139 Lime Canyon Road. For the last 7 years, I've lived in Midway for a portion of the year. I grew up in Europe, and one thing I've learned here in the United States after about 20 years is whenever something's marketed as European, it's a red flag. Whether it be a tailor or a salon or... I'm a fan of the arts. My background is I'm an investment banker. I run investment funds on 3 continents. One of my companies funds 4 Broadway shows currently and 2 shows at the West End in London. So I am a fan of the arts. I'm not opposed to density. Where I live in London, there are 1.5 million people who live within a square mile of me. But the reason I'm opposed to this is economically it doesn't work. I understand that there is going to be a tax shortfall, and in order to fill that shortfall through retail tax, this property is going to have to provide revenues in excess of $45 million annually. Now, to put that into perspective, there's another 20-acre development here in Utah. It's called City Creek, and annually it generates $250 million, so 6 times more than what's being proposed here. But it has Salt Lake Valley, 2 front-runner lines, 6 tracks lines, and several freeways that run into it. So the idea that this development can generate a 1/6 of that is for the birds, as we say where I come from. Now, I understand that the alternatives are potentially a change in tax. I think that this seems like a very smart community. Perhaps that should be a ballot initiative. Let the community decide whether it should be resolved through a tax matter or through a development matter. Thank you.
Your time. Thank you so much.
He's well spoken.
Rochelle Dominic, 184 West 100 South.
That's true.
I want to be able to chuck rocks. And I don't have anything to say that hasn't been said. I just want a chance to repeat it. 1, there's no guarantee of an arts center. I'm certainly not opposed to the arts. I love the arts. But to have this very high density and it's funny that you mentioned that building that's on Main Street, because I went by it the other day and I thought, gee, that building's too tall. And now we're talking about a building that'll be even taller. Traffic, I mean, it's already bad enough. I mean, this is Midway. As a former retailer, I've looked around town. There are plenty of places that are available for rent, and I don't see any of the local people getting rich, except maybe Galleria. I don't know, they keep adding cars. But there's not enough retail business, and if we have empty storefronts, that's going to be horrible. I mean, I would rather see a development like the Hamlet. I mean, the Hamlet's very pretty. It's down at the end of town. It's not too tall. So it's not that you can't put something there, but to commercial spaces, I think a real dumb idea. Sorry.
Thanks, Rochelle.
Doug Dalton, 255 West Birdie Lane. Thank you for pointing out the science of the project. How about a little quick math? Don't think I'm that old just because of the white hair, I've got a second grader going to be a third grader, and hearing about this, I was like, very interesting. I love change. Okay? My dad was the headland planner for Del Webb. They carved up a lot of dirt. Multi-thousandaires like me have children. We're starting our families. We moved to Midway because the other place we love, Park City, got a little crazy. And, you know, we couldn't afford those $700,000, $800,000 houses. Now, we've brought that into our community. I love it. 400 condos or apartments or whatever you're calling them are going to have probably 800 children. So when I heard about this, I said, I'm going to Midway. I'm going to go to the elementary school, because I go pick up my kid on my bike, and I'm going to talk to all these moms. Yeah, there wasn't very many dads. I'm going to talk to all these moms, and I'm going to see, hey, there's a Midway meeting, and I want to make sure the cart is in front of the horse, or the horse is in front of the cart. I'm not sure how it's going right now. And so I started talking to these ladies. Oh, I'm not from Midway. I just take my kid to school here. Where are we going to put these 800 children, folks? We can't even find money to get an aquatic center, right? We can't agree on creating school opportunities. I mean, behind my house, there's going to be another 800 kids, right? We just improved our area, right, with a big road that goes through. So until we get the streets, the schools, the trails that are going to attract all the people, okay, that's what's getting recreationalists here. Disposable income, right? That's what we're looking for. People coming here with disposable income, that's recreation, right? That's the quality of life. If you want to go to Kimball, it's 25 minutes. But if I want to go to our new C-4, I don't want it to take me 25 minutes, okay? So I agree with what you're saying. Please bring on the change. Please bring on the change. Let's do it responsibly. For you out there in the audience,
Your time's up.
great to be here tonight. Be part of the solution and tell those younger people to get out here and start working their ass off, because it's not going to happen without them.
Thank you.
Robert Duncan, River Road in Midway, 40-year resident of Midway, and also ran an art gallery on Main Street over 12 years on 2 different locations, and was one of those businesses who also stuck up a for sale sign eventually. And I feel strongly, we advertise a village on the signs as you come into town. And obviously we want a village atmosphere, and all the successful, thriving village-type towns that I know of have a core, natural, walkable shopping area. We have it, but we haven't taken care of it, I feel strongly. And we still have a bunch of for sale and for lease signs on Main Street. All the developments like this that have tried to create a village atmosphere, like the Gateway, Riverwoods, Redstone, all have gone through a multitude of tenants who've given up and someone else has replaced them, but none of them have really succeeded as a walking village atmosphere. The destination. We have a natural destination village atmosphere, and I really feel like the tourism overlay zone should be in our natural downtown area where people love to go. I know in a place like Jackson, a block off the town square, I have a friend whose gallery moved off the town square a block away. The traffic is nothing. They're struggling. And that's the same way. I don't feel like this is a natural location to have destination tourism come and thrive. And I feel like we've wasted a beautiful opportunity over 20 years of people who want to come here, but they don't want to walk 5 blocks. They don't want to, and we'll end up having a bunch of for rent signs down there and here when we could grow from the natural village we have out and keep open space in the places where it needs to be. And so that's just my feeling strongly that we aren't, this isn't going to bring what we really want it to bring.
Thanks, Robert.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Susan Fox, 206 West Main Street, the For Sale Bakery. First, I want to say thank you to Robin Johnson. I don't know if you're on Facebook, but it's called Midway Utah Milestones. She is keeping up information left and right over all these issues. Which we didn't know is we have 2 streetlights that are coming into our town that's going to be helping on Center Street and the one on River Road. So we'll be having 2 streetlights put in. So it really keeps you informed. I'm going to address the parking. I moved out of my home and closed my business. I'm not just open to the public anymore. I'm still doing business. But I'm up in Swiss Oaks. And they didn't think about parking either when they built that back in the 70s. And when all the out-of-towners who only come on the weekends all come up, there is no parking because they only put 1 car parking spot for each unit. And so if we're only going to do 280 spots or residents and only 1 parking spot, you cannot go visit your family because there's not another spot for you. And if we're only doing 250 square feet for every parking spot for your commercial, you won't be able to go in there. We see that we have commercial businesses for sale here in town. It's not, the businesses don't come here. We struggle every single year. And I don't want a shopping center like Riverwoods. I don't want a Blue Boutique or Victoria's Secret or a strip mall like that in my town. I'm glad to go down to Provo and go to Color Me Mine in Riverwoods. I don't want to do it here in my own town. I also don't know if they're doing tax incentives because we lose $70,000 a year right now for the grocery store. Every year, $70,000, they hand the city a check for $70,000 and the city gets to hand it back to them. And we don't know how many more years, I think at least 5 more years. 7 more years that we're giving away $70,000 that should be in our pockets. We already have stores over.
Time's up, huh? If you have stuff you want to leave with me, go. Okay.
Hi, folks. Matt Kropp. I live on 100 North at 87 East. I know several of you folks, but we've decided lately to invest just a couple doors down in the core of what has historically been our Main Street village, right? And one of my big concerns is by dumping a bunch of incentives in the form of C-4, and from what it sounds like, reducing density in what's existing Main Street, we'll kind of be shooting ourselves in the foot. This is a good idea in theory, but I really am scared of the execution of it, the way that I'm seeing it, all the details that I've come across so far. Also, as the president of the Wasatch Trails Alliance, I just want to put in something there. I don't know if many of you are familiar, but we've built around 100 miles of non-motorized trail in the last 8 years. We also routinely advise on in-town trails. We haven't done a whole lot with that, although we are somewhat instrumental in the new connection from Soldier Hollow over to the train station that should be coming here soon. I just want to say, as you go forward with this, make sure you're thinking about connectivity of trails. You don't need a curving, lapping thing, hello Valleas or whatever. That doesn't really help anyone except whoever wants to walk their dog in Valleas. So just make sure if you go down this road, these are trails that connect one to the other, all the way down, so that we do have the walkability you speak of in your mission statement. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
What's his name?
Hi, Holly Bonnelly, 730 Dutch Valley Drive. I just wanted to clarify a few things. I've been to all of the Planning Commission meetings, thank you, Mayor. And a lot of these addressed concerns were brought up then, and I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but I feel disappointed that some of these concerns haven't been at least looked at a little bit more before getting to the point of being at City Council. A couple things in the code that probably need to be pointed out. If the primary purpose for this development is to bring tax revenue, then this is completely backwards of what Midway actually needs. We're trying to get 80% residential in here. That makes 0 sense. And squeeze 20% commercial into that little tiny spot in order to get enough tax revenue. And we've heard the numbers, that tax revenue just isn't going to come from 20% commercial in that area. And that opens up to 80% residential, which leads us to, the city keeps telling us residential costs the city money. So that alone, it just doesn't pan out number-wise. Another thing is, we've seen commissioners bend over backwards to work for the developers at some of these meetings, we'd like to request the same thing, that the commissioners and city council bend over backwards to work for the citizens, not the developers, and those that are coming from out of state, and not those that are coming from out of state and out of the area and trying to develop here because they see that we have this gem and they want to do something with it and make money off of it. That's not fair to us that live here and pay our taxes, and we can do better than that. The moratorium hasn't been talked about tonight, but definitely that should include mixed use, regardless of the outcome of C-4.
Yes.
A couple things in the code. You mentioned that whatever is in the code is law. So take a close look at the code, because that's my primary concern, is how the code is being written. It does allow 4-story apartment commercial buildings. It may not be what's in the vision, but it does allow it, and those are the things that we need to make sure we look at regarding safety, density, height, parking, all sorts of things. I think this is just simply a matter of what's best for Midway. It is to be determined. What's best for Midway should be determined by the citizens who live here. Thank you, Holly.
Hi, Andrea Allen. I live at 313 East, 300 North, right by Memorial Hill. Moved here 3 years ago from California because I could breathe. And just really quickly, I want to just talk a couple things about what the code actually states. It's already been addressed, but the City Council reserves the right to offer other incentives that what is listed in the code, just like which was said, but that's stated in the code. Another code states improve the efficiency of parking areas by allowing multiple use and share parking spaces, curbs, cuts, and circulation drives. Again, we're looking at the parking issue, and that nowhere in the C-4 code it doesn't exclude large parking structures. So just wanting to look at that there with the amount of seats and the one parking. Again, parking will be a major problem, so they're going to have to address over 1,500 parking spots. What is that going to look like when we walk up Memorial Hill? And that's all. So thank you.
Hi, my name's Jared Simonson. I'm at 637 West on 200 North in Midway. I oppose the C4 development or the zone that's being proposed. I do understand there's a lot of historical issues in the town, both commercially and residentially. I don't think the C4 proposal addresses things the way it needs to do. I don't think it protects Midway. I don't think it protects the open space. I think that Midway is unique in Utah, particularly with regard to the roadways. I've lived in all over Utah, and it's very unique. The roadways can very easily become congested in an emergency situation, and they do, even just with minor construction. There's not adequate protections for pedestrians. I really don't see the commercial solution as being like a major solution for Midway. I really don't. I don't think that's a part of Midway's best future. I think it's a mistake. That would mean potentially higher residential taxes, but that may be, like someone said, what the citizens want. It may be the right vote to put forth to make that decision. The provisions that are in the C4 really don't protect open space, and I do think that the commercial code in general can have some revisions. Maybe it's through a new commercial code. I don't think this is it, but I do think that there's definitely it's necessary to stop and work harder on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dave Carson, North Center Street, 788 to be exact. I want to try and talk to the council and not to the audience if I can for a minute. I'm in favor of C4 zone primarily because I look at the alternative. Going into the details and what's good and what's bad, I don't want to do that here. It doesn't seem appropriate. I want to talk about process for just a second. Two people came up here and used the word process. I'm going to be the third. As I've listened to the discussion tonight, it seems like we have been talking about whether to do C4 or whether to not do C4. I don't believe that's the fundamental decision you are trying to make in behalf of the city when you finally decided. I think the fundamental decision you're trying to make is, do we do C4 or C2? There was one comment that says it hasn't been decided yet. Well, yeah, right now it's C2. So, process-wise, I'll echo Bob Adams' comment, town hall meeting kind of a thing. If this is not, if the purpose of this could be just to kind of let us as citizens vent about the things we like or don't like. But if the purpose of this is for us as citizens to really be constructively involved in what's going to happen, it's not, the decision is not C4 or to do it or not. The decision is, do we want C2? Which could very well be an industrial complex. I think the city council could help the citizens be more productive in constructively facing the real question through some kind of a town hall meeting, but by helping us all understand what the real question is, whether it's just to C4 or not, or whether there's really two choices, and you pick up one end of the stick, you pick up the other. I think city council could help us do that. I think it would be worthwhile if we need to continue.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'd like to address the City Council and thank you for all your hard work and the Planning Commission as well. My name is Dana Byerly and I just purchased the property on 67 East 500 South. I don't even know where I am. Sorry. We moved from Sandy, and when my wife and I came to Utah 40 some odd years ago, we moved down and moved out to Sandy, and at that time it was just my wife, myself, and the grasshoppers. So I've watched Sandy over the last 40 years grow. The little country road of 9400 South is now a 4-lane drag strip. 20th East, Highland Drive, didn't even go through when we moved there. Now it's the same. You can't get on that road safely, and to get out of our subdivision, which was at 18th East to 9400, you took your life in your hands. We left Sandy because of the air and the density. We came to Midway, and we cannot believe that we are privileged to live in Midway, to see the beauty around us. I watched Sandy turn into the madhouse that it is now over the last 40 years. And I can tell you through experience that this type of a development is like a cancer. You get one little cell in there and it just grows. And the question I would have for all of you, do we want to maintain Midway, or do we want to build the Sandy? I'm opposed to this. Thank you.
Thank you.